What's up, everybody? I'm Thomas J. Bellezza, and welcome to The Right Mindset. This is a topic every writer needs to hear: the art of patience. Now, in an industry that often feels like it's all about who can publish first, who can get the most attention, or who can produce the fastest, patience can be a superpower. But why is it so important? Well, today is about avoiding burnout, the benefits of patience in the writing journey. Now, why or how can rushing your writing career backfire? Well, that's a great question. As much as asking ourselves why can taking the time to develop your craft be one of the best things you can do for yourself as an author. There are pitfalls of publishing too soon, but there is always an importance of using time to grow your skills, and patience can lead you to a more meaningful place of opportunities down the road. Sometimes the pressure to succeed quickly can cause you to skip steps that are essential for long term success. So let's unpack why slowing down and being patient can actually accelerate your career in the right way. Before we go any further, there are two variations to your career that you need to, or I should say, there are two paths to your career that you have to pay attention to. Okay. There's the artist brain and there's the business brain. The artist brain is the craft, the art, the creative elements of it, the books. The business brain is everything that you have to do to maintain your career and get it going. Okay. So, you don't necessarily have to publish right away, but you still need to do the business. So even though you don't have a book ready, or you're not, or maybe you're still trying to find your voice as a writer, you still have to do the business stuff so you can get into that world. So when you do publish your book, you're there. A really quick story. When I was doing comedy, I had a band. It was a band of people. It was a group of people that I created called the Top of the Bottom Pile, and it was a three main comedians, and then we had like two other comedians, and another time we added one more comedian. But eventually, it was all about us three at first, right? And I said to us when we started, I go, look, I want to bring you guys under my wing. Whoops. I want to bring you under my wing. I'm going to mentor you guys. I'm going to teach you the business. But what we're going to do is we're not going to perform for a year unless people ask us to perform, because we have earned the right to perform that. And they go, well, how are we going to practice? I go, we're going to practice in private. So we're going to practice together. We're going to do the sets in front of each other. And then we are literally going to pay attention to each other, and we're going to critique one another, and we're going to give some advice to one another. So we're not at an open mic night in the dark room where there's people coughing, cigarettes being smoked, and everyone's looking down at their phone like, and then you get off stage. No one laughed at you. No one's paying attention to you. It doesn't help you. If somebody sees you and you're not ready yet, they're going to write you off because they don't know who you are. They don't care about you. And all you did was not make them laugh or get their attention, because what are you doing at an open mic? You're just trying stuff out. You don't know if it's going to work or not. So they're only thinking you're trying your best stuff sometimes if they don't know who you are. So we did all our work in private with each other. And then what we did, though, during that time is we network, market, and practice. We went out and build and cultivate relationships. We developed a brand that we marketed by being present and helping other people with their shows, getting to the point where people are like, hey, it's the Top guys, or how are you guys doing? Hey, we need a spot filled. You guys, one of you want to jump on? We always rotated. So if they said one of you want to jump on, whoever was next was next. It wasn't about ego. It was the top of the bottom pile, best of the worst, your second best choice. But people knew who we were based on the top of the bottom pile element, the fact that we worked as a team, the fact that we helped other people. And within 6 months, we had APA management reaching out to us going, we're hearing about who you guys are. Keep it up. Do what you got to do. So all these things happened that were really powerful for the group. And it was all because we focused on the business side of it, while allowing the craft side to be honed in private. So when we started trying to get past at clubs to be regulars, we did, because we had the skill. But more importantly, we were becoming friends with the club owners and becoming friends with promoters and becoming friends with all these, because we never asked them for anything. The most we did was say, do you need help? What do you need? You want us to work the door? Do you want us to help us with that? We marketed people. We advertised for them. We just did it. We didn't ask them. We were like, oh yeah, we've been pushing your show. The next thing you know, everyone's saying, do you want to perform? 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 And people just wanted us to, because they were giving back to us, because we were so involved. We were present and we were seen. That's the business side. So today is all really about why you don't have to rush to get published, why you don't have to worry about your book being the representation of your success. You can still be successful in the literary world by getting involved in the communities of your literary world, by helping others, by getting your brand seen, by being present. Okay. So let's do this. What rushing your writing career is. Rushing your writing career means trying to achieve milestones such as publishing a book, gaining recognition, or securing an agent before you're truly ready. It often involves submitting work that hasn't been properly edited, skipping the learning process to get to the finishing line quickly, or focusing solely on external validation instead of developing your craft, but more importantly, your brand or relationships. This urgency can lead to burnout, poor quality work, and missed opportunities for growth. Rushing ignores the fact that writing is an art and takes time to refine, and it can ultimately harm both your creative potential and your long-term career. Because again, if you're basing your options and your success on the thing you made, you are the value of the thing and not the value of the relationship. Give your book to a parent. They're going to most likely say this is great, even if they hate it. Give your book to a friend. They're going to say, oh, I like this, I like that. They might give you some feedback, but they're never going to tell you this is the worst thing since sliced bread, because they love you. People who love you are going to support you. So if I was a literary agent and I liked you as a person, I'm going to work with you, even if I believe you need work. Because that's what happens. When you get a manager, their job is to manage your career. Their job is to say, you're not ready for that opportunity, but you are ready for this opportunity. Because they are managing the way you move through the system. Okay? Agents will negotiate on your behalf because they believe in you and not just your work. Because Robert De Niro was not Robert De Niro when he first started. But people believed in him, not because he was the greatest actor in the world, because he just wasn't. He was still learning his craft, just like you're still learning your craft. You have to think beyond the thing, the product. And you have to say, all right, well, how do I get known? How do I get people to know who I am? How do I get people to recognize me and remember me? Be seen, be present, get involved in the communities, and represent your brand. Why rushing your writing career can backfire. Rushing your writing career can often lead to unexpected setbacks. I'll say this right away. If you base it on a book and you show someone a book and the book's not ready, they are going to write you off. If you're a comedian and you go on stage, even if it's at a club and you're not ready, you're going to go on stage. The booker of that show is going to see you and write you off. This is because it is solely based on the talent. Reverse that. You make friends with an agent, a publishing company, or you make friends with a booker, whatever the case may be. They're going to laugh it off and be like, I like you, but I'm going to be honest with you. You need work. So let's get you some work. Let's get you honed and let's put time into you. People put time into people they like. They do not put time into books or anything that they don't like. But a thing can be thrown out and you could start over. They need to like you first. Forget the book. Forget everything. Doesn't matter what industry, music, acting, doesn't matter. If they like you, they will take a chance on you. They will put time into you. So when you rush, you may end up publishing work that isn't polished, which can hurt your credibility as an author. First impressions matter. And if your early work is riddled with errors or lacks depth, it can be hard to regain readers' trust. So build the trust with them from you to them. It's about you. And now they'll want to support your journey. Moreover, rushing can cause you to miss crucial opportunities for growth, such as learning from constructive feedback, developing your unique voice, and honing your storytelling abilities. Skipping these fundamental steps can ultimately limit your potential. Taking the time to develop your career, on the other hand, is one of the best investments you can make in your writing career. It allows you to create work that connects more deeply with others, where you learn the ins and outs of storytelling and the industry itself, and It allows you to understand what makes your writing uniquely yours. And while you are developing your craft, the business brain, because that's the artist brain developing your craft, the business brain should be out there building relationships, developing your brand's awareness, and of course, learning what your strengths and weaknesses are so you can develop your talents. So when you join tables to elevate the missions of those tables, you understand how to best lead, follow, and advise. Leading is not about taking over, it's about inspiring initiative and also saying I'll help, somebody that's proactive. Following is not blindly, but making choices and actions that elevate the table's mission, not you or an individual at the table. And then, of course, advising is not to be right, but to offer options. With that, by not rushing, you also give yourself the opportunity to build a sustainable career rather than one that peaks and falls quickly. Patience leads to more meaningful opportunities because it allows you to grow organically and to build a body of work that you are generally proud of. Brandon Sanderson had 10 books or whatever, it was 13 books or something like that before he was even published. He was learning his craft, right? In the end, the quality of your work and the joy of the process are far more rewarding than achieving instant success. Being published does not make you a great writer. It doesn't mean you're successful. Many people can be published, but it's about creating a career, a relationship, and a longevity. On average, it takes an author several years to establish themselves in the industry. From the time they begin writing seriously to the point where they start gaining recognition, it often takes anywhere from 5 to 10 years to be an overnight success. Building a brand or presence in the industry involves consistent work, publishing multiple books, engaging with the writing community, and building relationships with readers before you even establish yourself as a voice in the community. Now imagine if instead of doing the book first and focusing on, oh, my book is going to get me there, you get involved in your communities and your name starts circulating because you're a voice within that community before your book is published. Not that you shouldn't be writing. You should be writing. The writing is what you're practicing. But while you're practicing, don't ignore building those relationships. Don't ignore building your brand awareness. Don't ignore getting involved in other tables. All right? You want to do both at the same time. Earning a sustainable living as a writer can take even longer, with many authors supplementing their income through other writing related works like freelance editing, teaching, or speaking engagements. The reality is that success in publishing is rarely immediate, but by taking your time to develop your craft and build a solid foundation, you can set yourself up for a fulfilling and lasting career. Let's talk about 3 pitfalls of publishing too soon. All right. Damaging your credibility, missing growth opportunities, and financial and emotional burnout. Now, the damaging your credibility, again, if somebody sees your craft first but don't know who you are or have a relationship with you, you will be judged solely on your craft. If you develop a relationship with your audience and or people of note, gatekeepers, and they see your work, they are actually judging your work through the biased lens of their relationship with you. The more they like you, the more they'll give you a chance, depending on how good or bad your work is. Now, if your work is kind of okay and they like you a lot, your work is now good. If your work is good and they like you a lot, your work is great. If your work is already great and they like you a lot, they're like, wow, we got to put money into this. So keep that in mind. The missed growth opportunity is all about developing your craft and skill before getting out there. So again, with top of the bottom pile, we got really good at having a 5, 7, 10, 15, and 20-minute set. So we knew how long our sets were to the minute. We timed it. We worked on the rhythms, the speed, the pace, and as soon as we got that light, that like, oh, you get when you're on stage, they give you a light. They give you a 2-minute warning or a minute warning. You could tell them whichever you want. But we knew when that light went off, we had the minute left. We weren't like, oh, I got to wrap this up. Our set was our set. And people loved that because they were like, we can trust that you're going to be fluid. You're going to do your thing. But that took time. It took time to get those rhythms. We filmed ourselves. We studied ourselves. We learned how to improvise. We would let each other distract one another. So we'd have to like, oh, all right, you got me. All right. And we became very comfortable with our material. And our material had to grow and change over time and stuff like that. And of course, some things didn't work and some things did work. And the only way you could do that is in front of a real audience. So you, as a novelist, can start learning that, especially if you're working within the community of other novelists. And now you're helping one another and you're just, right? Everybody's getting together. And maybe that one friend of yours who is a novelist, you developed a good relationship. They see potential in your work and they have a literary agent and they go, you know what? I feel confident introducing you to my literary agent because they like me and I like you. And even though you're still growing as a writer, I feel comfortable introducing you to. Because remember, if I have a relationship with someone of note or a gatekeeper and I introduce you to them and you're terrible, and I mean just terrible, like you don't do your job, you don't know how to network, you just I just want to be a writer. Like you're not a part of the solution. You're the issue. And I introduce you to them, that's going to reflect poorly on me. So it's hard for me or other people to introduce people to people of note unless you develop this strong relationship and you start learning about each other. But more importantly, the financial and emotional burnout. Publishing prematurely can also lead to financial and emotional burnout. If your book doesn't perform well because it wasn't ready, you may feel disheartened and pressured to churn out another book quickly to compensate. This cycle can lead to more burnout, both emotionally and financially, especially if you're investing money in marketing or self publishing costs without seeing a return. Be careful with that. The importance of growing your skill. Growing your skill as a writer is essential for building a long term sustainable career. Writing is a craft that requires continuous learning, and every book, every draft, and every critique provides an opportunity for growth. Taking the time to grow your skills allows you to develop your unique voice, refine your storytelling abilities, and better understand the mechanics of language and narrative structure. While you are focusing on growth of your business through network marketing and practice, you're still allowing your artist brain to create work that will emotionally connect with readers more deeply because you are honing your skills. Strong character development, engaging plots, and polished prose all come from honing the skill over time. By investing in your own development, you not only improve your quality of work, but you also set yourself apart in the competitive industry. So when those relationships and that marketed brand do connect emotionally with other people, you can actually back up what it is you're talking about. Because when they like you, like I said, if your work is already great and they like you a lot, now they're willing to put money and time into you. The more you grow, the more confident you become in your abilities, and the more prepared you are to tackle complex stories and ambitious projects, the greater your journey will be. Because writing is a journey just as much as the career and business aspect of your career is a journey. All right. Okay. So when you allow yourself to have that patience, okay, and while you're having the where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna take my time with my career. I'm gonna focus on the artist brain and the business brain. I'm gonna allow the creative element to not only practice my craft and write many books and maybe short stories or whatever you do, but I'm gonna get involved in the community as well. I'm going to try to get out there and meet other writers. And then I'm going to ask them to send me their stuff so I could read their works and give them feedback. And I'm going to ask them to read my works and give me feedback. I'm going to market my friends who are authors. I'm going to get involved with people that do the same, that we're at the same kind of tables where we're trying to help one another. We're trying to elevate. We're trying to work, grow, and rise together. Okay. So while I'm working my craft, I'm going to be working my business. I'm going to be developing those strong relationships, not just with authors, but with people that are within the industry in general. I'm going to get involved in the communities of that world. You know, if somebody is doing an event like a Comic-Con and they paid for a table, I'm going to say, hey, do you need someone to help you with your table? Even if you have no books to sell, how can you help them? It's not always about how do I help myself? How do I get sales? How do I make money? It's about getting involved. The more you get involved, the more that involvement will reward you. It'll return you opportunities. Opportunities like landing a reputable agent or securing a strong publishing deal or gaining a loyal readership often come when you've taken the time to build that solid foundation. Okay. So instead of rushing to publish the first book you write, you might find that by waiting, your next manuscript is the one that truly connects with the agents, editors, and readers because you've already built and established those relationships. Patience gives you the chance to build connections in the industry, develop relationships with mentors, and understand market trends, all of which can lead to more meaningful, rewarding opportunities. I'm just saying. Now, examples of authors who took over 10 years to achieve overnight success. Brandon Sanderson is number one. Okay. Before becoming a well known name in fantasy, Brandon Sanderson spent over a decade writing 13 unpublished novels while honing his craft. His persistence eventually paid off when he published Elantris, which kickstarted his career. But Sanderson's journey is a testament to basically the power of perseverance and patience. He made it so he was able to just write books all the time. He worked an overnight job at a hotel, and that just allowed him to write, 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 write. But when you look into his career, it wasn't because he was just writing books, though he did hone his skill. But everyone who has read his books would probably say Elantris is not the best book in his books. That's not saying Elantris isn't good. It's just saying it's not the best book. And some people will usually say Way of Kings changed it all, but Words of Radiance was XYZ, whatever, right? Mistborn was the whole trilogy. The first book was but by the third one, you're like, this is the greatest book, right? So it wasn't that Elantris was so good. People were like, we need to publish this. You know what I'm saying? Like, he built relationships that led to that opportunity. Stephen King is another example. Although Stephen King is now a household name, his first novel, Carrie, was rejected 30 times before being published. King spent years writing and submitting short stories to magazines, slowly building his skills and reputation before achieving his breakthrough. And again, George R. R. Martin worked for decades as a novelist and television writer before achieving widespread fame with A Song of Ice and Fire. The series, which later became Game of Thrones, took years of careful planning and writing, leading to what many perceive as an overnight success after years of effort. All right. The other thing is, if you think about people who have been successful in careers, just the music industry or whatever the case may be, Lady Gaga, as an example, I don't know if you know this, but Lady Gaga did not start off as a superstar. All right. She, in her early career, hey, too. All right. She actually wrote for other artists. I'm not sure you know about this. So, um, Lady Gaga, Stephanie, her real name's Stephanie. She began very young, very young. She, played the piano at 4. In her teenage years, she was already performing open mic nights in New York City. But that wasn't really getting her known because, she was performing, but she wasn't being seen in the right way. But she did drop out of school. She's a dropout to pursue a career full time, and she began collaborating with performing artists, Lady Starlight, who helped shape her onstage persona. So she had a mentor before she started going, it's all about me. I should be Lady Gaga. I want to release my album. No, she worked for Lady Starlight, who mentored her performance. During this time, she also worked as a songwriter, penning tracks for artists like Britney Spears and the Pussycat Dolls. So before she became Lady Gaga, not only was she honing her skill, but she was honing her skill behind the scenes, working with other people and saying, yeah, sure, I'll help them. I'll help them. Yeah, she got paid, but I'll help them. Okay. And you have to remember, this is the same for a novelist. Get involved, be seen, be present, help others, join tables and communities, lead, follow, and advise. And you have to learn how to network, market, and practice. The book is the least important thing of your career. And I'll tell you, it's very important, but it's the least important because no matter how many books you write, if you don't know somebody, they don't know you, and you don't know yourself well enough to do the work, it doesn't matter how great your book is. Great writers fail. That's why you can look at a musician on the street playing their guitar through a little amp going, wow, they're amazing. They're not signed. No one cares about them. They're not making money. They're busking and poor because greatness does not equal success. There's a more to the path. You still have to be good, and eventually you have to improve. But in reality, your success is based on who you know, who knows you, and how well you know yourself to best make the choices to increase your opportunities. With that said, final thoughts. Patience isn't always easy, especially when you see others moving ahead quickly or feel that pressure to produce. But remember, writing is a journey, and every draft, every connection, every opportunity, every position you put yourself in to help others will become part of the process to success. Sometimes the pressure to succeed quite quickly can cause you to skip steps that are essential for long term successes. So slow down and be patient. This can actually accelerate your career in the right way, allowing you to lay a solid foundation for your future growth, not only with your skill level and talent, but the foundation of your relationships, who you know, who knows you, and how well you know yourself to best lead, follow, and advise. Fast doesn't always mean good. It's about getting there on your terms, in your own time, and with peace of mind. That in itself is a victory. Trust in your path, give yourself the space to grow, and understand that real success often comes not to those who move the fastest, but to those who move with the intention and care. Your story and your career are worth the wait. We're going to talk about navigating criticism, how to use feedback to grow without losing your confidence, and of course, a question. Have you ever felt pressured to rush your writing career? And how did it impact you overall? Let me know in the comments below. I love to hear these things. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss out. With that said, keep developing the right mindset. I believe in you. Much love, much help. See you next time. Bye.